Welcome to Mystery Date, where we dive into the weird, the wild, and the downright puzzling. While our podcast is primarily for entertainment with plenty of laughs along the way, we occasionally discuss serious and sensitive topics. Some content may not be suitable for all listeners, so discretion is advised.
Imagine stepping into a forest where the sunlight barely touches the ground, where the air is so still you can hear your own heartbeat. The trees close in around you, twisting and tangled, their roots crawling over ancient volcanic rock. There's no birdsong, no wind, just silence. You take a few steps deeper, and it's like the outside world disappears. Your GPS starts to falter, your compass spins. Bright ribbons tied to branches snake off into the shadows, leading you somewhere you're not sure you want to go. This is Aokigahara, Japan's Sea of Trees, a place of stunning natural beauty and unsettling reputation. Some come here to hike, some come seeking peace, and some never come out. Today, we're going to walk its trails together, past the myths, the history, and the haunting reality of one of the most mysterious forests in the world. But be warned, in the Sea of Trees, you might not be alone.
I'm Christian.
I'm Kate. Welcome to Mystery Date.
It's date night, meaning we get to talk about all things mysterious and weird.
This season is called Into the Woods, and it involves mysteries surrounding woods, forests, and jungles all around our world.
Tonight's mystery is all about Aokigahara Forest in Japan.
Get comfy, grab your favorite drink, and let's start the show.
All right, just to throw it out there, we are a little sick, so our voices might sound not super pleasant, but hopefully somewhat bearable for you.
Yeah, I sound worse than I feel, but it's me, it's Kate. I know I don't sound like myself.
But other than that, some fun news is we celebrated our 5th year wedding anniversary, which was pretty great.
Yeah.
That was on September 4th.
I can't believe it's already been 5 years
I
since
know,
we got married.
We've known each other for too long.
Yeah, 16 years.
And then dated for 13 years and married for 5. We're so old.
I know.
I'm glad I spent it with you, but Jesus Christ, we're just so old. Oh my God.
And we're not. We just got together so young. Like,
Well, yeah, that's
we met in middle school, so
no,
what
I'm
are you going to
actually
do?
only 28. You're 29.
But it is funny how being with one person that long really does make you feel old. And I can't believe it's already been 5 years since we got married. And we definitely feel like that old married couple. Let me tell you.
Oh, yeah. But other than that, we're going to dive into it. Just wanted to let you know that we were sick in case the episode feels off in any way, or I'm sure you can tell by our voices.
It's just bronchitis.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Just a lot of mucus and dealing with that.
Yeah, fun stuff. Living in Ohio when the seasons change,
Yeah. So what do you know about Aokigahara?
I have heard of it. I don't know much about it other than it gets the reputation of being called the suicide forest.
Yes, which is unfortunate. I didn't want to use that moniker at all.
I don't like that moniker either.
Well,
but
I didn't mean to say like I don't want to use it at all. But like I meant in like any of the promo. Like we're not going to use that in the title or anything.
We're not calling it that. But that is how I have heard of this before.
Yeah.
But that's also all I know about it. I don't know any lore. I don't know even really why it got that nickname other than to assume people committed suicide there.
Fair.
But that's really all I know.
We'll dive into it. Good. You can be the typical eyes and ears of the audience, kind of listening in and being their voice. Well, tonight we're going to just kind of unravel some of the mystery surrounding the forest. Just its origin, its history, essentially, why it got the nickname it did, and just maybe shed a little light on this kind of enigmatic area that some people just hear its nickname and write off as this completely spooky place. But it is actually quite beautiful, and geographically, it is kind of an astounding place. So there's a lot more to it than just what you hear on the internet. We will dive into a lot of that stuff. Obviously, it's Mystery Date, but for the first part, I just kind of want to paint a little picture of what this forest looks like and really just give you an idea of its natural beauty. There's a certain image that comes to mind when people think of Japan's Mount Fuji. Snow-dusted peaks, cherry blossoms in the foreground, and maybe a clear lake reflecting it like a mirror. But if you turn away from the perfect postcard view, head southwest, and travel about 2 hours from Tokyo, you'll find something entirely different. Something older, stranger, and depending on who you ask, either one of the most peaceful or most unsettling places on Earth. This is Aokigahara. Locals call it Jukai, the Sea of Thieves. Not the Sea of Thieves. Pirates.
That was good.
That's some history you didn't know. There were pirates roamed the forest. I'm sorry. I'm keeping all that in. No.
That's pretty funny.
Locals call it Jukai, or the Sea of Trees. Trees. And if you've ever seen it from above, sprawling in every direction, it's a thick green carpet. From a distance, it almost looks like an ocean frozen in place. Each treetop a wave rolling toward the slopes of Fuji. But stepping inside is like stepping through a doorway into another world. The moment you leave the road and take your first steps past the trailhead, the light changes. The dense canopy swallows sunlight, filtering into a dim green-tinted glow. The air is cool, heavy with moisture, and faintly smells of moss and earth, like 1,000 years of rain have just been stored in the ground. Your footsteps sound strangely loud here, and that's because the forest floor is made of porous volcanic rock, remnants of the great eruption of 864 CE. And that pretty much absorbs all sound. Combined with dense foliage, this creates an uncanny hush that falls upon the forest. There are no bird calls, no rustling leaves, and even the wind seems to avoid this place. Navigation is also harder than you'd expect. The forest is deceptively uniform, tree after tree with very few landmarks. And there's something else. Compasses and GPS devices don't always behave the way you want them to here. The iron-rich volcanic soil can throw off readings, making it easier to get turned around here than pretty much anywhere else. So that's pretty spooky. You hear about compasses and GPSs going haywire in a lot of other places, but this actually has a reason for it, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is more of a natural phenomenon,
Yeah.
the volcanic remnants there in the ground and the way the earth and soil has changed.
And I will point out,
It's cool.
it's only in certain areas. I'm not saying that the whole forest, everywhere you go, your GPS is going to... It's only in those iron-rich areas that it's going to act like that. So again, this is all very natural.
But that's pretty crazy to think that your compass could start spinning out. You think you're heading one way and then all of a sudden it spins and sends you somewhere else. You could just be walking back and forth forever
I mean, yeah.
and never actually going anywhere. Like, that's...
It's not entirely a hostile place, however. On sunny days, the shafts of light that break through the leaves can feel almost holy. Like the forest is letting you see its softer side. Moss creeps over fallen trunks in rich green blankets, and delicate wildflowers grow in pockets of soil between the hardened lava ridges. In autumn, the leaves burst into deep golds and reds, and in winter, snow clings to the branches, giving the whole place an otherworldly stillness. But even in its most beautiful moments, Aokigahara carries a weight. In its silence, in the shadows between the trees, and in the way time seems to stretch here, you could walk for 10 minutes or 2 hours and have no real sense of how far you've gone. The deeper you go, the more the outside world fades until it's just you, the forest, and that strange, endless quiet. In this combination, breathtaking beauty, natural disorientation, and a silence that borders on supernatural, That has helped Aokigahara earn its powerful and complicated reputation. Some come here to hike or marvel at the geological wonder at a forest growing on a lava field. Others come for reasons much darker, and both are a part of the story that we're about to tell. So let's get into the history of the forest. And to understand why Aokigahara feels so different from other forests, you have to go back more than 1,000 years to a moment when this land was nothing more but molten chaos. In the year 864 CE, Mount Fuji erupted in what's known as the Jogan eruption. It was one of the largest in recorded Japanese history, spewing vast rivers of lava down the mountain's northwestern flank. Villagers were buried, farmland was destroyed, and a landscape that had been green and fertile became a jagged wasteland of black rock. The lava eventually cooled into a hardened plateau, porous, uneven, and sharp in places like cooled coral. For years, almost nothing grew here, but nature is persistent.
Life finds a way.
I knew it. I was like, we got to put a Jurassic Park quote in here.
Of course.
What is that, Sir or Dr. Ian Malcolm? I think it's,
Maybe Malcolm.
I think it's Ian Malcolm.
I know it's
Let
Jeff
us know in the
Goldblum.
comments. I know your dad's going to let us know.
My dad will let us know. He knows everything about movie trivia and actors and just honestly, like any trivia ever.
Shout out, Tom.
Yeah. If I ever go on some sort of game show, he's my lifeline.
So over decades and centuries, shrubs and small trees took hold, their roots finding purchase in the cracks that were left behind. Finally, the canopy rose, towering hemlocks, cypress, and broadleaf evergreens, weaving together into the dense woodland we know now as Aokigahara. The forest itself is relatively young in geological terms. I mean, in 864 CE, you had people living there already before even the eruption happened, and then the forest grew. So you hear about some forests that it's like, this has been here for since beginning.
Yes.
It's just been here.
This has been here since day one of Earth. It's like, wow, okay.
So I think that's pretty cool that it's kind of a relatively new forest.
Yeah. The redwoods are like one of those ancient forests.
Yes.
It's like, no, those have been there for thousands of years.
It's like, yeah, those are older than...
Those trees are older than Earth itself. I don't know. I can't explain it.
So I don't know. Putting that in perspective, it's like, wow, yeah, you like grew a forest. Like people lived there. Imagine like your town just getting flooded and then 300 years later, it's a forest. Like a huge natural, like just... Like, that's crazy. Almost brings us to our El Dorado and Lost City of Z theories, where it's like, look how vast.
Reminds me of the 100.
Yeah.
When they come back to Earth and they're like, they don't know anything about Earth's previous landscaping, really, but they're like walking around this dense forest and you just see like the Lincoln Monument. And it's like, wait, they're in DC right now? Like,
yeah.
It looks like the Amazon jungle.
Well, and I mean, the only reason you probably won't find much of that in Aokigahara is because they were using wooden structures, and I'm sure a lot of the stuff they were using at the time just kind of deteriorated. It wasn't made to last, so...
It wasn't stuff that was gonna outlast a lava attack.
Yeah. Deteriorated. I feel like I said that weird. Not that time, but when I said it the first time.
I didn't notice.
So while the forest is young in geological terms, and when I say young, I mean just over a millennium old, but in cultural memory, it feels ancient. And that's because stories and superstitions began growing here alongside the trees. One of the earliest and most enduring legends tied to Aokigahara is the grim practice of ubuste. I hope there's going to be a lot of words that we're going to say that I tried looking up the pronunciation, and I hope I'm getting them right. I probably will not. Just a little disclaimer. But this practice, it was said to be used in times of famine, so the story goes. Families facing starvation would take their elderly or infirm relatives to deep and remote places, like mountains, or just deep in the wilderness, or as the legend has it, the Sea of Trees, and leave them there to die.
Oh, fun. It's like, hey, we don't really have enough food for everyone at dinner anymore. Sorry, Grandma, but like, you're getting pretty old. You're not gonna last much longer anyway. We're just gonna wheel you out to the park. Enjoy your last few sunsets. Bye.
Yeah, essentially.
It sounds so grim, but like also completely different times. Who knows how true this story even is, if it was just some sort of tale that was told. But that is kind of creepy. Like, it's a very grim vibe to just be like, oh, we're all starving. Let's just sacrifice family members. Just vote them off the island.
Again, it was said to be used in times of famine, so maybe it was, like you said, survive or die kind of
Yeah,
thing.
like as grim as it is in a world like today, we can't imagine times of the 806 CE, like
364, yeah.
yeah, like that's so long ago. We can't imagine what life was like then. Survival of the fittest really was priority back then. Probably they didn't have familial and love ties the way we have today because we can afford them now.
Exactly. It's almost a luxury that we have.
Yeah.
Whether or not this actually happened, though, is still kind of in debate, and it's debated by a lot of historians, so people go back and forth on this. But the tale has taken root so deeply in Japanese folklore that it became inseparable from the forest's identity. In these stories, the abandoned souls don't rest. They linger as Eerie, or ghosts bound to the physical world by anger, sadness, or unfinished business. Aokigahara, according to local belief, became a place where these relentless spirits wander, their sorrow woven into the land itself. By the Edo period, which was around 1603 to 1868, the forest already had a reputation for being dangerous to enter. Some saw it as cursed. Others viewed it as a sacred liminal place, a border between the world of the living and the realm of the dead. In modern era, Aokigahara's notoriety deepened not just through oral tradition, but through literature. In 1960, celebrated mystery author Saicho Matsumoto published Koryo Jukai, or Black Sea of Thieves. Jesus.
He really likes that video game, you guys.
It rolls off the tongue.
The Sea of Trees.
The Black Sea of Trees. God. In which lovers meet their end within the forest's depths. The novel resonated so strongly that it inadvertently associated Aokigahara with suicide in the public mind. That connection intensified in 1993 with the publication of Wataru Tsurumi's The Complete Manual of Suicide, a controversial and widely criticized book that explicitly described Aokigahara as an ideal location to end one's life.
What a wild concept for a book at all.
Yeah. I didn't look too much into that for obvious reasons. No one should. You should just let that be where it is.
Yep, that one can stay on the shelf.
While denounced by mental health professionals, rightfully so,
yeah,
the book became infamous, and the forest's reputation as a place of final acts was cemented. From that point forward, the forest's name became internationally recognized not just as a natural wonder, but as a place carrying immense cultural and emotional weight. And that weight, as we'll see in the next section, has shaped both tragedies and has ghostly legends that swirl through the Sea of Trees today. So now that we have a little bit of history, we kind of have an understanding of the landscape, we're going to dive into what was the forest known for. Ask anyone in Japan about Aokigahara and you'll likely get two responses. Some will tell you it's a place of breathtaking beauty, a hiker's paradise with winding trails, hidden caves, and stunning seasonal colors. Others will tell you, with quite seriousness, that it's a place you should never go. In truth, both are correct. While Aokigahara is home to unique plant life, volcanic rock formations, and even ice caves that remain frozen year-round, it is best known tragically as one of the most frequent suicide locations in the world. That association dates back to at least the 1960s, but it's in the decades since that the forest's reputation was truly solidified. We're going to dive into some of those numbers. Now, I just want to give a trigger warning here. If you don't want to hear about anything about suicide or self-harm or anything in that realm, please go watch or listen to something else. We don't mind. We understand completely.
Yeah, we are not going to be offended if you skip the rest of this episode.
Or
It's
just
totally
jump straight to Date Night Debrief. That'll be in the notes or wherever. You can find it in the chapters, timestamps. Just jump straight there. That's totally okay. But we are going to be diving into some kind of touchy subjects here involving suicide and self-harm. So we're going to talk about the numbers. In the early 2000s, the statistics were alarming. In 2002, authorities reported finding 78 bodies in the forest. In 2003, that number rose to 105. At the time, that was an all-time high. Later years, between 2013 and 2015, they saw over 100 deaths annually. The numbers became so grim that in 2010, the Yamanishi prefecture government stopped releasing official figures, hoping to curb the forest's grim notoriety and reduce what psychologists call the Werther effect, the phenomenon where publicized suicides can inspire others. So what was the response to all this? Well, authorities didn't just stop reporting the numbers. They began installing prominent signs at trail entrances in both Japanese and English. These signs bear messages urging visitors to reconsider, such as, "Your life is something precious that was given to you by your parents," or "Think of your family. Do not keep it to yourself. Talk to someone." They also provide phone numbers for suicide prevention hotlines and a lot of other just helpful things dotted around the trail markers. Police, local officials, and volunteers conduct annual patrols through the forest, both to help those they encounter and to recover any remains. The work is emotionally taxing, and those who volunteer often speak about the sobering reality of the forest's reputation versus its actual quiet stillness. And that kind of makes a difficult duality when it comes to the forest. This is part of what makes Aokigahara so unique in the public consciousness. It's both a site of natural wonder and of deep tragedy. Hikers come to explore the Narusawa Ice Cave and the Faguka Wind Cave, both geological marvels formed by Fuji's ancient eruption. Wildlife watchers come for the birds, insects, and small mammals that live here. Photographers come for the surreal light and mossy, twisted trees. And yet, it's impossible to separate that beauty from the shadow hanging over it. Even those who come only for the scenery will likely notice something unusual. Brightly colored ribbon or tape tied to trees, marking a path deeper into the woods. These are sometimes left by hikers who want to ensure they can find their way back. But volunteers know they're also left by people intending not to return. Outside of that, the forest's dense vegetation and lack of landmarks makes it notoriously easy to get lost, hence why people leave trail markers. The porous volcanic rock underfoot absorbs sound, dampening the usual cues of a forest. No crunch of leaves, no bird calls. The iron content in the ground can interfere with compasses and handheld GPS devices, making it even harder to orient yourself. Even experienced hikers have become disoriented in Aokigahara, circling back to the same spot without even realizing it. That sense of being subtly turned around adds to the forest's unsettling reputation. Again, it adds logical reasons to why these things happen, where you hear about it like the Hoyabashu forest, where it's like, oh, all these weird, mysterious things are happening, and everyone's like aliens. Because there isn't really too much in that forest that would explain it, to be honest.
That
But
one
here-
feels like more of an enigma.
Yes.
This one has like a scientific earth reason for everything. It's like, well, that happens because of the way the ground and the soil is made up with the volcanic properties. And it's like, that happens because it's so dense with trees and the canopies. And well, no, that happens because of all the moss. Like, it literally is just everything has an answer.
Yeah. Which I kind of like. I think
Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
think it's really, really neat.
Why I think this episode kind of works is because it's such a sensitive topic and a very sacred location that to do it any justice would just be, like I pointed out earlier, to just shed light on what it truly is, not keep it in this enigmatic area to where it almost incentivizes certain things to happen, like that Werther effect. If you show it for what it is, it can just be appreciated.
I mean, yeah, it's nature. It's not supernatural spookiness. It's real nature. And it might feel spooky, but maybe just because you don't understand it or because you're out there and you're getting lost. But that's also what's like, don't go into big, lush forests and get lost. Like, I don't...
I mean, yeah.
That sounds very rude, but like, yeah, just don't get lost.
So now we're going to talk about what the forest stands for in the culture surrounding it. In Japan, landscapes aren't just physical spaces. They're cultural symbols, storied places where history, folklore, and spiritual meaning intertwine. Aokigahara is no exception. In fact, it might be one of the most symbolically loaded locations in the entire country. For centuries, Mount Fuji has been considered sacred, a gateway between the mortal world and the divine. Aokigahara, at Fuji's base, exists in the same spiritual geography, but in a different register. If Fuji is the towering, life-giving mother mountain, then Aokigahara is her shadow, a place of stillness, mystery, and endings. In Shinto belief, nature is inhabited by kami, spirits or deities that dwell in trees, rocks, rivers, and mountains. Some kami are benevolent, others are not. A forest as dense, old, and quiet as Aokigahara would traditionally be seen as a liminal space, somewhere the physical and spiritual worlds overlap. That concept alone lends it an air of caution and respect in Japanese culture. Layered onto this spiritual backdrop is the folklore of the Eerie. We kind of mentioned these earlier. Ghosts bound to the living world by intense emotions. Unlike Western ghosts, which simply haunt a place, Eerie or Eerie, we're trying here, are thought to be unable to move on until their grudge or sorrow is are thought to be unable to move on until their grudge or sorrow is resolved. Aokigahara tied in legend to the practice of ubaste and the idea of lonely abandoned deaths. It's said to be home to many such spirits. Local stories describe hikers feeling followed deep within the woods, hearing faint footsteps that stop when you stop. Others speak of voices calling them from just out of sight, beckoning them deeper into the trees. And whether one believes in ghosts or not, the cultural weight of these tales is real, shaping how people approach and perceive the forest. And those ghosts, by the way, the Eerie or Eerie, if you've ever seen like The Grudge or like The Ring, that's kind of where that inspiration comes from. Again, it's intense emotion that causes this ghost to stay around, like a grudge or grief or whatever it might be.
That was when I first, like as a kid, when I first kind of heard about ghosts or believed in ghosts or whatever. That's like what I thought they were. I thought that the only spirits that stayed as ghosts were the ones with like unfinished business of some sort.
I mean, it kind of is similar in our culture.
Where it
with
was
that,
like, okay, like if you're at peace, you die, you move on. But if you're here as a ghost, it's because something is unresolved emotionally or in a justice
I think
sense, even.
in Western culture, and I could be completely wrong, this is just my perception, but I feel like we think of it as like you almost have a goal, whereas the Eerie or Uri are seen as you were left with something. So it's like, instead of, oh, well, you have to finish this task or you have to do this certain thing or feel this certain way, it's like, no, when you passed on, you had that feeling so strongly within your soul that it has now brought you and changed you into this type of spirit. Whereas ours is just kind of like, well, I have to mend with my family or come, like
you have to
there's
come to
usually
terms
yes.
with something.
Yeah.
That I could see that.
So culturally, silence holds a different meaning in Japan than in many Western countries. Silence can be a form of respect, contemplation, or connection. But in Aokigahara, the silence takes an unsettling dimension. It's not peaceful, but charged, as if the air itself remembers.
Visitors from the past.
Visitors often describe it as oppressive, like the forest is holding its breath. This blends naturally into Japanese ghost lore, where places of death are thought to retain the energy of those who passed there. So I kind of like this too. I when I was researching this, it was very interesting to see how this was tied into like a lot of the paranormal lore that they have over there.
Yeah, that is interesting. And I will say, I mean, I might not know the type of silence that this forest holds because I have not been there, and it's clearly has some geological natural phenomenon making an intense silence there. But even just living somewhere where it snows in the winter, it is eerily quiet sometimes when there's snow on the ground. Just putting a big soundproof cushion over everything. You go out at night in the winter and there's a lot of snow, sometimes it is very unsettling, and you do have the feeling of like, am I being watched? Like, is there a stranger on my street right now? Like, you feel a little unsettled, even if you know there's absolutely no reason for it. And I think that certain levels of silence do have that.
Oh,
sure.
yeah. I used to get that all the time. Where like in the mornings, especially as a kid, on a snowy day when it was like just kind of orange from all the street lights, and you walk into the bus, and it was a very liminal kind of feeling during that walk.
Ominous.
Yeah. So now we're going to cover just a few creepy encounters from the forest, kind of get into some of the meat and potatoes of what's actually going on here. So when you spend enough time reading accounts from Aokigahara, whether from hikers, journalists, or search and rescue volunteers, a pattern emerges. The eeriness isn't just about what you might find in the forest, but it's about how the forest itself behaves. So the first one we're going to talk about is, well, the compass anomaly. One of the most famous and factual oddities of Aokigahara is its effect on navigational tools. The volcanic rocks beneath your feet contains high concentrations of iron, a remnant of Mount Fuji's 864 CE eruption. When you place a compass directly on the ground here, the magnetic interference can cause it to spin or point incorrectly. So for the average hiker, this is just a curiosity. But for someone already disoriented, it can be pretty terrifying. I mean, you're in the dense interior where every tree looks like the last, and a faulty compass could mean walking in circles for hours. Even seasoned volunteers carry more than one method of navigation. They use maps, GPS, and mental markers, because they know how quickly the forest can turn on you. Another thing we're going to talk about is some abandoned campsites that have been found throughout the forest. So rescue workers speak of finding campsites deep in the forest, often minimal, sometimes well-stocked, but always eerily still. And in some cases, they appear lived in for several days, with rationed food and arranged sleeping mats. Other times, they look hastily abandoned, as if the occupant left in the middle of the night. One volunteer recalled coming across a small blue tent in a clearing, and from the outside, it looked neat and orderly, but inside everything was zipped into bags except for a single notebook open on the floor, and the last page contained nothing but a single date. So that itself is creepy and sad because you can assume what a lot of those campsites are being used for. I mean, people camping out in the forest and then doing whatever, but
I mean, that is kind of crazy though, because it could just put even more theories that maybe people aren't going there to do anything but enjoy nature and get away, and they just, they're like, hey, I could get away with camping here. It's such a big forest. Nobody's gonna find me and fine me for camping here for free for a few days. I'll just be in the woods. And then, it's like, what happened to make them suddenly feel the fear that they had needed to leave their tent and their campsite behind?
which could lead into those paranormal stories. Maybe it's a lot of,
It's some of these cases are probably as simple as, well, whether because of the Werther effect or what have you, people are going in there with no plans of returning. There could be other explanations for these empty campsites too, and that's just as intriguing to the curious mind.
I mean, yeah, but unfortunately, I think that it's more just...
It's probably mostly somber news.
Yeah, I can't imagine like the poor rescue workers that have to deal with all of this. I do know that like it is like a rotation. Like they don't keep people in that position that long.
It sounds like it's a lot of volunteer basis stuff too, because they know, they're like, we don't want to put this on people. This is a heavy job. It's gonna weigh on your conscience in some way. Not that you've done anything bad, not that kind of weighing on your conscience, but it'll weigh on you. Another
thing people often encounter in Aokigahara is disembodied voices. So stories about hearing voices in Aokigahara are pretty widespread, though they vary in explanation. That scared the hell out of me at first. Some hikers claim to hear faint, indistinct murmuring, too soft to make out, but close enough to raise the hair on your arms. Others report hearing their name called out from somewhere deeper in the forest. Skeptics attribute this sound to disorientation in the dense woods, where voices from other hikers can be heard and misconstrued while you're kind of making your way through, again, just this repetitive pattern. But believers point to the legends of the Eerie, spirits calling out to the living, luring them off the path. Which again just kind of feeds into that supernatural paranormal, which that is spooky as hell.
I will say, my first thought when you say people start hearing voices that they can't quite make out and yet feel very close by, my immediate thought was, it's probably one of those strange phenomenon that happen. It sometimes happens in architecture, it sometimes happens in nature, where somebody can be like standing 2 yards or 20 yards or 50 yards away from you, and they can whisper something, and the way the canopy of trees or the way the stone arches or whatever the landscape or architecture happens to be, the way that the acoustics of the environment are shaped, you can hear it as if it's next to you that far away. And that was my first instinct, is that it's probably something like that. With this dense canopy of trees, you have this almost soundproof ground. It makes your own steps seem to echo behind you and feels like you're being followed from that. You could very easily hear a group of hikers talking that you can't see because A, there's lush forest, so you can't, it's not just like one big open field, But B, they could actually be far away from you, and it's the canopy of trees carrying the sound to you like a little radio.
No, I mean, How I Met Your Mother, they talk about that.
Well, yeah, and that's a real architectural phenomenon that some architects do on purpose, but they do it because it's found in nature first.
100%.
And they're replicating that through their art. But I've been to a place like that. I don't remember where it was. I've been a lot of places. But one of the places I went, there was some sort of phenomenon like that. I don't remember if it was an arch or if it was outside, but I do remember experiencing that, where it was like, here, go talk to that wall and you can hear them at that wall or something, or talk to that tree and they'll be able to hear you at that tree. And it's like you're playing a game of telephone with the cup and the string across the
Yes,
room.
yeah.
Like, that's what it felt like.
I mean, that probably is a good explanation for that. But that's still spooky as hell, especially if I heard someone saying my name and with all of this other just added shit on top of that.
I will say, like, I not to discount that spooky things or spiritual things might be going on, because they very well might be. But I think a lot of that probably comes from just that general paranoia. You already feel a little uneasy and a little unsettled when it's that quiet, and you know it's that easy to get lost, and you know there's kind of a darker lore lurking behind these trees. It's not just nature's beauty. I feel like even the most non-believers out there would be a little bit on edge, a little bit paranoid in that forest. So you hear something that maybe it is a bird call, and people are just like, what? But they say there's no bird song here. That had to have been my name. It sounded like my name, and now you're causing it to happen to yourself. I'm just saying.
I completely agree with you. I mean, there's when you have the preconceived notion that this place is haunted, then you're much more.
That's what I'm saying. It's like as soon as you walk into a forest like this, you're already susceptible to like feeling paranoid or uneasy or being like, what was that? Is there something around the corner? Is there something spooky? And when you're looking for stuff like that, or when it's in the front of your mind, you're more likely to find it or create it for yourself.
Oh, yeah. So now we're going to talk about something that many people have heard about. In late 2017, Aokigahara became the center of international controversy when American YouTuber Logan Paul uploaded a video that included footage of a deceased person in the forest. The video sparked widespread outrage for its insensitivity, leading to public apologies and a wave of criticism about how outsiders treat the forest.
Dude, I didn't know that happened.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've never followed anything about Logan Paul, but I have heard of him.
Yeah. Well, he's a UFC fighter or boxer, wrestler.
Something.
I don't know. I don't follow him.
I don't follow any of that. But the fact that I've heard of him and I've not heard of this is like crazy to me.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. I remember when it happened, the Philip DeFranco show. That's when I first heard about it. Because it was everywhere, dude. And I'm not going to say too much on the guy. I don't really care and want to waste my time. But that set my feelings on him pretty early before he ever ended up doing anything. To where I just kind of wrote him off.
I'm sorry. If you come across something like that, you stop filming, and then you don't post. If you accidentally filmed it, you delete it. You don't post that.
Yeah.
If anything, you go give it to the cops and say, hey, we stumbled upon this on our hike. If you could go take care of the situation. Like, you don't post that shit to YouTube. The fuck? Yikes.
So with that, I mean, that's pretty much it when it comes to Aokigahara, to be honest. Aokigahara is a forest of contradictions. It's stunning and eerie, ancient and young, silent yet full of unspoken stories. It has been shaped by fire, myth, grief, and time. It is both a geological marvel sprung from molten rock and a cultural mirror, reflecting the complex ways humans deal with morality, mental health, and the unseen world. Walk its trails on a clear day, and you might find shafts of sunlight spilling through the canopy, illuminating moss-covered rocks like something out of a fairy tale. The air will be cool and damp, and you may hear nothing but your own breathing. It can feel peaceful, like the forest is holding you in stillness. But walk those same trails with the weight of its history on your mind, and the atmosphere changes. Every ribbon tied to a tree, every abandoned campsite, every whispered legend about Eerie becomes part of the landscape. The silence is no longer just silence. It's the absence of hundreds of voices. Aokigahara today is many things to many people. To hikers, it's a place of challenge and beauty. To spiritual seekers, it's a liminal place where worlds touch. To families who have lost someone there, it's a wound that never fully heals. And for Japan as a whole, it's become part of an ongoing conversation about life, death, and how society supports or fails to support those in crisis. One of the most important things to remember is that Aokigahara is not a spectacle. It's not just the suicide forest you might see in the headline or a horror movie trailer. It's a living ecosystem, a sacred cultural space, and tragically, the final resting place for many. The forest deserves to be approached with care, not just physical care, like sticking to trails and respecting the environment, but emotional care, understanding the weight it carries for those who know its stories firsthand. It's impossible to talk honestly about Aokigahara without acknowledging why so many have come here to end their lives. So if you're listening to this and you're struggling with thoughts of suicide, please hear this. You matter. Your life has value far beyond what you might see right now, and the feelings you have are real, but they're not permanent. There is help, and there are people who care deeply about you, even if it doesn't feel that way in this moment. If you are in the United States, you can call or text 988 for the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. If you are in Japan, you can call the TEL Lifeline at 03-5774-0992 or the Tokyo English Lifeline. If you're anywhere else in the world, you can find international hotlines at findahelpline.com. Reaching out can be the first step towards finding your way out of the darkness. You do not have to walk that path alone. Aokigahara is not just a place on the map. It's a reminder of the fragility of life, the persistence of nature, and the importance of compassion. Whether you see it as a place of sorrow, a natural wonder, or something in between, it asks something of you: to listen, to remember, and to care. And maybe the real mystery of the Sea of Trees, it's not just about what has been lost there, but about what we choose to carry forward when we leave. So, we don't really have a conclusion on the actual mystery.
Yeah, there's not really any theories to dive into here. I do just want to mention, simply because it's relevant and I remember it, that there was a movie made, I feel like in the 20-teens somewhere. I don't know if it was 2012 or 2019, but somewhere in there, I think they made a movie where like a girl goes to find her twin sister in this forest, and then she like goes crazy and ends up killing herself.
No, I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
Like it was like a horror thriller type movie. I'm pretty sure it was American, and it was probably pretty offensive to many people who cherish this place and don't want it to be that kind of a spectacle and creating the Werther's effect. But I did remember seeing that, and the more we talked about the forest, the more certain things.
That's what it was called, the forest.
The forest.
That's literally what it was called. I'm pretty sure. I think it was called the forest.
I think you're right. But yeah, the more you told me about it and the more we talked about it, it was like, okay, I like almost started remembering and seeing this movie again in my head in little spurts. Not that I recommend it or don't recommend it. I honestly don't remember how. Yeah, I don't remember how I felt about it. I'm sure it's interesting enough just because of the subject matter, but I wanted to throw that out there. That was like, oh, there was a movie not that long ago that also kind of probably kicked up this reputation and this lore again about this forest. Because I know you said it was like the early 2000s, and then somewhere in the 20-teens that it was like every year this volunteer squad was finding hundreds of people
from 2013
bodies.
to 2015.
Yeah, and I'm like, I wonder when that movie came out exactly.
It was right around there because I was working at the movie theater, so.
Yeah, I'm like, I wonder if that was like almost a big triggering effect for those numbers going up for those years or something. It's just something to think about, something interesting.
Yeah, and I know this was kind of
I mean, it's sad, but it is interesting.
Yeah. And I know this was kind of an odd episode, might seem like an odd topic, but I wanted to cover it because, like I was saying earlier, it's a area that is seldomly touched on in a light where it's not hyperbolized in this suicide forest kind of way.
It's almost as if this story is only ever told as a ghost story.
Yes.
And it's not just that.
No, it is so much more. And I might have come across as kind of preachy, or you might have even heard it in my voice that it was a little emotional during that last part about telling you that you matter and to seek help and about suicide prevention. But that's because we mean it. And
yeah, I had to prevent myself from crying while you were saying that. I sat here like holding my breath because I could feel my eyes tearing up.
And I mean, no, me too, because it's true. Like there is always, that is a permanent solution to temporary problems, no matter what.
Yeah. And I'm saying this so that you know you're not alone. I have been there. I have been in a dark place, and I have thought that the end might be the only way. And I'm so, so glad that I didn't ever act on that, and that I did get help and open up to friends and to people close to me, because it does get better, and there is light at the end of the tunnel. And yes, there's going to be bad days too, and it's not always easy, and it's always a lot easier said than done. Things sound good on paper, but it really, really is worth it to stick around, you guys. I promise you. And we hate seeing people go that way. We hate it.
Oh yeah. So again, if you need help whatsoever, please seek out all those hotlines. Please seek out all the hotlines that we highlighted earlier. But moving on from that, we're going to go on to date night debrief to kind of lighten the mood, get out of that mentality.
Debrief and enlighten.
Yeah, let Aokigahara rest and be in its own little space.
I'm going to start us off with an inappropriate joke that I kept to myself the whole episode out of respect for the subject matter. At the beginning of the episode, you said, grand shafts of light come through the forest, and that they're holy. And then, of course,
I know where this is
all
going.
my mind said was, grand holy shaft.
So
big fat holy shaft.
I guess that leads into something else. We have merch now that you can buy, and maybe there will be a grand holy shaft t-shirt.
Oh, shaft.
No, there probably won't. But that's a good segue into Jesus. I'm glad you saved that till the end. It was a good joke.
It's a good debriefing moment.
Yeah, it was a solid joke. But no, we do have merch now, so please check it out on our website. You can find a little section there that says shop. You can go there and you can find out all of the other options that we have. We have some t-shirts, hoodies, sweaters, a hat. There'll be more that we add. Some of it will be limited time, some of it won't be. But that is a great way to support us. Anything you buy there directly supports us, and you get to wear some cool stuff and get the name out there that way. I think the designs are pretty cool. There's a cute one. There's like two serious ones. It's a good little mishmash right now.
Yeah, we're pretty excited to get this stuff out there. Christian's been working really hard. He's designed everything himself. And
I will be open to, because I don't want to hide it in the shadows, whatever. We're a small company, right? We're not even a company. We're two people.
We are two people in our own house with a camera.
Yes, the assets that we are using right now on our t-shirts, we're not selling this stuff for a lot of money. The money we do make from it is like $5. We do use AI to help us design some of the art. That's because, again, there's two of us. Once we can get to once we can get to a situation where we're financially able to, with this show, hire artists and stuff like that, of course we will. And if you are an artist that is interested in designing stuff for us, reach out and we will be glad to talk something or work something out, because we would love to use human-made stuff, of course.
I always prefer to support a human over AI, but most humans want to charge us way more money than we can afford
right now. Sorry.
We really can't afford to spend any money right now.
No, this podcast budget is in the red. I've spent too much money.
Yeah.
Not like we're not. That sounds bad. We're not like in debt.
But no, we're okay, you guys. Our bills are paid.
But like we don't.
But no, like this isn't some big bank scheme we've got going on. We do this for fun, and we do this because we hope you think it's fun. People have asked how to support us. This is a little way that, hey, if we make a little bit of money, maybe we can partner with somebody to make better things.
Exactly.
And to have more genuine things, that it's not just our brain juices working with Canva and ChatGPT and other little programs that kind of help us out. But yeah, full transparency. Cards on the table.
Humans are still used. I design, like, I do take all these into like Photoshop and Canva and then edit them and do my own little stuff to it. But some of the assets are used from AI or
we do try to take from images of ourselves or photos we've taken to avoid any possible art theft going on by AI.
Yes.
And that's why we use Canva. We can pay for things like Canva rights to their logos. Things like that. But
I did want to be transparent because I don't want you to buy the things and then someone be like, "Oh, this is AI."
Just
look. We're trying to do what we can. Down the road, it will be original art. We're working hard.
Yeah, if you're an artist and you want to start creating some stuff for us, and maybe for free at first, and then we can also shout you out.
Cross promotion, of course.
Yeah, we'll shout you out at every single episode, and then eventually we'll make money together. Reach out.
For real.
Hit us
please.
Up today.
mysterydatepodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email, please.
But in the meantime, check out what we've got because I think it's pretty cute.
I do love it. I still think they're great.
I think we've got some fun and cute stuff going on, and I think you're going to like it.
So from that, we'll move on to the question. It's kind of a quick and simple one. If you could travel anywhere tomorrow, so it has to be like you got to get packed and ready to go fairly soon, so you can't just plan like a week and a half trip or whatever. Like you got to have everything ready. If you could go anywhere tomorrow, where could it be, or where would it be?
The funny thing is, we are going somewhere tomorrow. We're leaving to go to Florida to go video a wedding.
We were supposed to film this on the weekend, but we got sick, so now it's now. But Florida isn't where I would pick, to be honest.
No, to be honest, it's
nice,
I'm happy to be going and to be doing the wedding. But if it was just like, if I didn't have plans this weekend and it was like, if you could go anywhere tomorrow just for the day and you had to be ready to go by tomorrow, where would it be? I would say Chicago.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah. If it was just a day trip and I only had the rest of tonight to get ready, I would choose Chicago. It's close enough that it's not going to take the whole day to travel there and back. You can get a flight there, takes 45 minutes.
I'd pick Toronto.
Really?
Yeah, just go to Canada. Like, there's no specific reason. But I feel like if it was somewhere close and I had my passport and we could like quickly go. Yeah.
I do like Canada.
And
I just felt
about Toronto.
I would say I just felt like Toronto was random. I'm is there like a reason you want to go there?
I was just trying to think of, like you said, because of the stipulation, somewhere kind of close.
Yeah,
and I'm
somewhere that it's
New
like,
York,
where could we get it? Yeah.
Chicago's nice, but you took that, so I wanted to pick something else. And I don't, no offense to the southern states, but we kind of drive through those all the time every time we go to Florida, so I see a lot of those. So I'm like, Toronto.
Yeah.
I've never been there, and I hear good things.
That's true. Yeah, I've been to Chicago many times. I lived there for a year. But I love it. I lived there for a year for a reason. The first day I showed up to see it, I was like, oh, this is my home now. I can't leave. So then I lived there, and then now I don't live there, but it's okay.
No, it is a gorgeous city.
I do love being a tourist there nowadays.
I mean, there you have it. Toronto, Chicago. For Free Talk, one thing I want to mention is, you might have seen it on our social media, but we are going to the Chardon CryptidCon and Curios event that they're having October 11th, noon to 6 at the Chardon Square in Chardon, Ohio. So if you live in the area or in Cleveland or are crazy and you're the 3 people that listen to us in the UK and you want to hop on a plane and fly over here, then we would love to see you there. But otherwise, definitely feel free to try to come up and stop by. There's lots of vendors. We'll be there doing a live speaking. We're going to give out some stickers, maybe some other goodies.
might be doing a little live interviewing or podcast recording. You could get yourself on the show.
That's very true. Yeah, you can ask us questions. We want to ask you guys questions. And besides that, we're also going to Mothman Festival. So if anyone is going to be there, keep a lookout for us. We're not speaking or doing anything officially there, but we're going to be enjoying the festival. It's our first time there.
Yeah.
And we're covering Mothman soon. So I figured a good way to do that would be to go to where the mystery started.
Yeah. So we got a couple fun things in the works coming up soon. Mothman is
That's in 2 weeks. Yeah, September. That's right after we get back from Florida.
September 19th and 20th.
Yep. Really, it's just we're probably going down for one day. So
we're probably going to.
But the event
day,
is the weekend.
That is in West Virginia.
Yes, Point Place or Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant.
Isn't Point Place like?
That's the '70s show, I think.
Isn't that like that '70s
Yeah, I
show?
think that's that 70s.
It's some sitcom for sure. Yeah, Point Pleasant, West Virginia for Mothman Fest, and then Chardon, Ohio for CryptidCon and Curios. Yeah, I'm excited for both of those. I think they're going to be really fun. One of them will be an official speaker, and one will be more of just the bugs on the ground.
Yeah, casual vibes.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited. I mean, thank all of you guys for listening. I know we're not huge yet, but every listen just makes my heart happy, and this is something that I love to do. So the fact that any person at all is listening to it is super awesome.
I mean, yeah, we love you guys. We love that you're here every week. Thanks for putting up with our sick voices this week.
I hope it was at least interesting. I hope the story was good enough and kind of shed some light on an area that maybe you had the same kind of misconception that everybody else does about it. So at least something good came from our sick voices.
And, if we're going to have to sound this somber for any episode,
I mean, yeah.
I think this was a good episode for me to have my whisper voice
down too. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, with that, thank you guys so much for joining us, and be sure to come back every other week for a brand new date and a brand new mystery.
We hope you enjoyed today's story, and don't remember, I almost said.
And don't remember to email us.
Yeah, don't do it.
No, please remember.
Please remember, you can email us, mysterydatepodcast@gmail.com. If you're sending us an episode idea, put it in the subject line. If you're sending us a love letter, go for it.
Oh, yes,
we would love to hear
that.
it. You can also follow us on social media at Mystery Date Podcast.
And be sure to share this podcast with your friends or even your enemies, and check out our website at mysterydatepodcast.com. We have blog posts there, lots of fun stuff that you can just easily share to somebody. Like, hey, go check them out here. Boom, easy. You don't have to explain it too much. And all of our stuff is right there. So that's a great way to get the name out. And it helps us so much when you guys like and share this stuff. So please continue to do that. Comment on the episodes. Answer our date night debrief question. Where would you like to go if you had to go somewhere tomorrow? Let us know in the comments. And again, just subscribe or do whatever you can. Any little bit helps, and we appreciate it. So that's all. And be safe. Have a great rest of your day or night.
And remember,
Every good mystery deserves a date.
Bye.